Before we begin, I invite you to gently close your ears and focus on what remains when all external sounds fade away. It's like sitting in a quiet room, and after a while, you notice a subtle ringing or hum beneath the silence. If you listen closely, you'll start to experience this soft, constant presence, something that feels like the very fabric of reality itself. In quantum physics, it's said that everything is connected at the most fundamental level, and that everything we see is just a manifestation of deeper, unseen energy. What you are hearing, or rather feeling, is that same energy, that same field of potential. This subtle ringing is what we call the sound of silence. It's not just an abstract concept or some external force. It's the very essence of you. Everything we discuss in this session, and the ones to come, will be about this sound of silence. It is not something separate or different from you. It is you. This exploration is about realizing that the sound of silence is your own inner being, your most fundamental nature, the stillness from which all life arises. You are that, the very presence behind everything. I am unique and pure perceptive essence. Through this supreme decision, I can fill light into the darkness of ignorance, becoming sorrowless and blessed. Let's break down each word in this statement. Unique refers to being one without a second. If we consider the ocean, it would be wrong to say that the water is similar to a wave. When we touch a wave, there is no wave to touch. It is all water. What we perceive as a wave is simply a form of water. So, unique means being without a second, without comparison, without anything else like it. In this context, I am unique. It's important to focus on the I here, because the message isn't just about saying that the truth is unique or that God is unique. The statement is personal. I am unique. This is a fundamental point being made. Now, let's explore the idea that I am unique and pure perceptive essence. I am not just unique, I am pure too. This purity is untouched by anything external. It means that in this entire creation, whatever someone is perceiving is happening to me. Everything starts with perception. First, I see something, and then it leads to an emotional response, whether it's happiness or sorrow. Perception is the first step in any experience. For instance, I might encounter a smell. Once the smell is perceived, I will then judge whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. The initial experience, regardless of its nature, happens through my senses. And it's worth noting that even though humans have 5 senses, there could be more senses in other organisms that we don't possess. For example, certain animals can sense when an earthquake is about to happen, which suggests they have senses that are beyond our understanding. How do they know? What are they perceiving? It's beyond our ordinary sensory experience. Whatever the experience might be, it is happening through me. This is a powerful and liberating concept. I am the one who experiences no matter the instrument used for perception. Think of it like this. If you place a camera in a specific location, the image you capture will depend on the camera's specifications and features. The camera can only capture what is within its range, and you won't be able to see beyond that. If you were to observe UV rays or infrared rays, they wouldn't show up on the camera because the camera isn't designed to capture them. The limitation is not the camera itself, it's simply the range of its capabilities. Similarly, consciousness is everywhere, and it flows through any instrument, whether it's mine, yours, or any other being's. When an object contacts consciousness, the perception is established. This is because consciousness is what allows the recognition of contact. If there was no consciousness, there would be no awareness of the contact at all. If I were to ask you, where do you see all of this? You would say it's within my awareness. Similarly, when you dream, where does that happen? It happens in my awareness. It's all perceived through the instrument, be it the eyes, ears, or any other sensory organ. Without the instrument, there would be no perception. If I were to remove your eyes, you wouldn't be able to see anymore. This means that consciousness is always present, even if there is no perception occurring. Even when there is no sensation, consciousness still exists. It existed before the sensation occurred, and if it hadn't been present, how could the sensation even be realized? Consciousness is constant, and it exists regardless of whether sensations are happening or not. An instrument may be limited in its capacity, as every object and every sensation is confined within the realms of space and time. No object can be infinite. No form can be limitless. But the formless is infinite. That which is unique, that which is formless, is unlimited. If something had a form, it wouldn't be unique because it could be compared to another form. A form is always finite. It exists in one place, it changes over time, and eventually it will be destroyed. But uniqueness in this context refers to formlessness. A form, whether it's large like a dinosaur or small like a bacteria, is just a form. Whatever is perceived in that form is still limited because it's an object within the space-time continuum. However, who is it that experiences the form through the instrument? It's the formless, which is infinite and everywhere. The formless pervades everything. The formless is synonymous with infinity. Earth, water, fire, air, and space are all forms. They are part of the material world and can be perceived through instruments. For example, space may feel bigger or smaller depending on how it's measured, and even space itself is connected to instruments. This is why these elements are sometimes referred to as the 5 elements in certain philosophical traditions. They are forms, bounded by space and time, and are part of the observable phenomena. This is where the beauty of a particular philosophical tradition comes in. It discusses the concept of the observer, the one who is never observed. Science, for example, has always been focused on observing the material world, the earth, water, fire, and space. Science has developed technologies to harness energy from water, sunlight, and wind, among other things. It is a linear progression, focusing on what can be observed and measured. Yet, science misses the deeper question: who is the observer? Who is the one observing the space, the earth, and everything else? Science focuses on the objects within space, but never acknowledges the consciousness that is aware of these objects. The key here is that the observer, the one who experiences everything, is not something science can measure. It's not an object that can be observed. The observer is the formless, the consciousness that is always present, regardless of the form it takes. This is the deeper truth, the one that is beyond the scope of scientific observation, but it is something that can be directly experienced by anyone who is willing to look inward and recognize their true nature.